So you mentioned the power of editing.
Yes.
And we had a common question on our podcast that we ignored for a little bit because we weren't sure what to do about it. Someone made a video that was incredibly critical. It was a canceled Charlie video. And it really, to me, showed the power of editing.
Mm-hmm.
And we shot a podcast on it a little bit ago. And then we didn't share it because the person had said that they were considering making a second one. And we didn't want to incense them. So we kind of let ourselves be, bullied into quiet or whatever, threatened into quiet. And then recently we came on here and we were critical of the NBA because in the name of protecting their business, they censored themselves around China. And then we felt like big fat hypocrites because we had censored ourselves to protect our business and we didn't share this podcast clip. So, Angel, if you could, we're going to show the podcast that we shot, I forget how long ago, that talks about this video that will show you the power of editing because it is a takedown Charlie video. So, Angel, if you could run that, and then we'll get back to today.
So there's a fan question and I've seen it once or twice. It was, what do you think of the video Don't Trust Charisma on Command? So I'll try to answer this holistically because I've had many different feelings regarding it. It's a video that was made about us. It's I think it's fair to call it a hate video. Let's just call it. Well,
I'll try to say
I haven't watched it.
I'll try to be cool. It is a video that I would please no one go watch it. Please no one go harass this person with hate. But it is a video that I think was purposely crafted to be edited and misrepresentative in order to make you look bad.
Yeah. So I haven't seen it.
That was the goal. The goal was not the pursuit of truth. It was to make you look bad.
Well, I think we should substantiate that, and we hope. Well, we'll see if we do. I haven't watched it because I don't want images in my head because it's upsetting. The truth is, my first reaction when I see a negative comment, and in this case, a video that's 20 to 30 minutes long with more editing than we've ever done.
I gotta say, yeah. I mean, listen,
dozens of hours.
I absolutely hate the video, but my hat is off to her. You spent more time on this than we do on our videos. It is.
Yeah. So
the research, the obscure corners of the internet that you've gone to, truly.
It's incredible. So I haven't watched it, but you've described it to me, and I haven't watched it because, these things. So my first reaction is I'm not immune to being upset, and particularly what was that somebody worked so hard.
Yeah.
And I presume this is someone that I've not met, made eye contact with, shared a word. That
also
someone
didn't reach out to us, to my knowledge.
Well, of course not.
Well, I mean, you could try to if you think someone's
evil. So it accuses us of a number of things, which we can sort of go through. But in terms of my emotional reaction, it kept me up at night. It is upsetting, and honestly, I'm fast forwarding to the end here. Ultimately, as weird as it is, and I'm still uncomfortable with, grateful for the opportunity to grow, because what it made me keenly, undeniably aware of is how concerned I am with literally what a stranger who has never met me thinks and says about me to other strangers. And we've talked about your character being more important than your reputation, and this exposed that I care, I care about me. To have someone, I feel like I'm in middle school and I'm being trash talked on Facebook, and it's just happening around me. So it exposed that in me, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to grow from that. But
it can't. I mean, it's you never want anyone to think something bad about you
Sure.
or to say anything bad about you, and especially not to try to learn from you any of it or to. I mean, it's just a hurtful thing in general.
Yeah, no. So it hurt my feelings is the truth. And so with regards to the stuff, then as I can zoom out from it a little bit, which is hard to do when I come in and out of it, it's fascinating.
Yeah.
It's really, we talked about the cognitive stuff.
So we'll share some data points because I really don't want people to go watch it.
It makes a ton of allegations.
I neither want to give it views nor do I want to try to send people
and
to
please don't
harass
hate.
this
Please
person.
don't hate, because honestly, we've talked about this. It would be so easy. I mean, if people watch that have heard her perspective, and if you're watching this, you've heard my perspective. We're both human beings. We're both people. I have no idea what's going on in her life. I have no idea what triggered this. So, benefit of the doubt, always. Let's go through some of the things that are said. So you'll have to help me because I haven't seen it. The first one is that a story that I wrote about my time in Brazil is fabricated.
Yes, and I will tell you why it is fabricated.
Sure.
because you put a photo up of a woman that you claim you gave roses to.
Alleged woman, okay.
But upon Google searching that face, this person's opinion is that the Brazilian woman did not come up, but a Turkish model came up.
A similar, but not that photo, right? Someone who looks like her.
She didn't find that photo, but she found a face that looks like that face. Yeah. And so because of that, this story is a lie that you made up to impress people.
And this is the interesting point about Cognate. So the hypothesis is that I have a candid photo of a Turkish Instagram model.
Because this photo's not on her
that
Instagram.
Is not on the internet.
Yep.
How did I come across said photo? That's a story in and of itself, I would imagine. How did I get this? I don't know.
Yeah, it's fair. It's the Instagram
incredible
model. All of her photos are probably on the internet.
Yeah, but I have a special one. So anyway, I don't know. We can decide if it makes sense. I'm not trying. I actually asked this girl if I could post her photo. She is from Brazil. It's from my time in Florianopolis. My friend Paul was there. It all happened.
It's also not that cool of a story, to be fair.
Nothing happened that's interesting.
You're not a hero in the story. You're just a guy who gave flowers to women, and then no kiss, no sex,
in any event.
No
so maybe Angel, I'm not certain if we can. We'll discuss the ethics. She said it was cool for me to post this photo many years ago. I don't want to dox her, expose her identity, but I could show you photos with Portuguese lettering next to her. Like, she's on the internet. She exists out there. This particular photo's down because she took her Facebook down, but she is on Instagram and she's out there. This is easily proven to anyone who I know, and maybe we'll show you guys. So that's the first one. But the hypothesis is
that you found a photo of a Turkish woman, took her photo, and made up a story about her.
That doesn't make me sound cool.
But this photo cannot be found on her profile.
And the story is about not going for it. We didn't kiss. Nothing happened. It was like, man,
So that's the interesting data point number one. That's a made up thing based on the fact.
So I don't think she started hating me there, because that would be. I feel like that's an ad hoc.
Read the story. Yeah, it's kind of a.
Yeah. So okay. So the second, I don't know what they all are. We'll go through some of them.
Sure. There's one. So one piece of information.
The other photo, right?
She says that our testimonials are made up.
Yeah.
And that's an interesting claim because the information that's based on is that she Google image searched one of the photographs and nothing comes up, which I think is interesting for a couple reasons, because she probably Google image searched the other people. Yeah. I would assume you wouldn't just pick that one, right? Which means that the person who made this video Google searched 4 photos and 3 of them came up, and the name we put, because we asked their permission, matches the name of their social media. So okay, that didn't make it into her video because those people are real and that's their name. And then there's one photo that's not on the internet. And so the hypothesis is this testimonial is fake. In fact, I think it says all their testimonials are fake, but I haven't watched it recently. So maybe it just says this one. I think it says all. Because this person can't be found on the internet, which I think is interesting because how did we get the photograph of this 30-something-year-old woman? You would think if it were a fake...
The hypothesis would mean that I did some sort of a photo shoot to get a photo that's not available on the internet. Yeah, or took like a friend with a private profile.
Hired a 30-year-old woman to pose for this.
By the way, I would write a better testimonial. I would
Nice.
I would
I
make
appreciate
it,
what she said.
It's a nice testimonial.
What she said.
I'd make it punchier, though. I'd sex it up.
I
know how to write.
It's interesting about this because, once again, you'd think that this would be... If it was a person we just stole it from, you'd think we would have stolen it from Facebook or Google Image or something.
Yeah.
It's also not. It's not a high def photo, so it's probably
anyway,
not from a photo
we'll
shoot.
throw up the. This one I'm pretty confident we can blot out her email. We'll throw up the email that she sent us, which we dug up. Right?
I dug it up because I was just like, this is.
Read receipts are coming.
No, I was just like, what's happening? I was so confused about this video.
And this again, I was so as you were telling me this.
And what's interesting to your
the more interesting thing is why the vitriol. And I think what I had to come to is we've had 250 million views. For one person to be highly motivated anti is par for the course, and what you have to expect, and is going to be part of my life. And it made us, we can touch on a couple of the other things. We're spending way too much time, honestly, even talking about this. But it made us think, do we want to do this podcast? Because I'll tell you some of the other edits that have been made in here.
The Instagram one was pretty interesting.
So Instagram one is, let's just briefly, it's a photo of me smiling. I'm like this. It says, don't ask for permission. And in our Norwegian editor, by the way, makes these. He doesn't speak
He's not from our culture.
English.
It's not native English. And so he says, don't wait for permission. And the caption says, don't wait for permission to live the life of your dreams.
Yeah.
And then it says something else about, go do it today. Tag a friend who needs this advice. But when the photo gets put into her video, the caption is purposely left out. And then it's construed as if for some reason Charlie went onto his Instagram and then posted a pro-sexual assault post, not on his personal Instagram, but on our business Instagram, because that would be a good business move, which is a weird... So I know that she saw the caption.
We're taking too long. Let's quickly. So there's another one. It's a video of me talking to a woman. Now this video that it is on the internet. She got it shows me approaching a woman, saying, "You're absolutely stunning." And in that moment, she's walking past me and she's not facing me. Now what happens in the next second, which is in the video, is she turns around and laughs, and we talk, and she laughs again, and it goes well. And that's why I put the video on the internet. It makes me look like a comfortable, easy person to talk to, and showing that you can have a positive interaction in the street. This is the one that makes me go, this person hates me, just hates me. It's cut. And then she says, I believe you got to correct me.
It's cut at the moment where she's walking and you're talking to her. And then it doesn't show the part where she turns around and it goes well and everyone's laughing and having fun. And the idea is that you're making the person uncomfortable. That's what's implied.
And then similarly at the end of it, it's a podcast. And again, all this is, if anybody sees any of the original material and doesn't like me, I would argue that that's absolutely, you're right. But nobody had any issue with any of the original stuff. It's only when it's clipped and edited in a certain way that it is so upsetting. And I would probably not like the person that I saw if that video were made in a snap reaction. But the final one, I'll just quickly touch on it, it's a story that I'm telling on a podcast about a girl at a club, and it's in a New York club. And I listened to it, and out of context, it sounds like I'm being rude to her. I'm saying, like, you're so boring, you don't even want to dance, yada, yada, yada. That's the clip. And then she goes, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong in any of this, says that, because this is what you're telling me and I'm telling you back.
Yeah, this is paraphrased.
I want to get the facts as close to straight as I can. That she obviously hates, like, oh, no, the reason she doesn't want to dance is because you're rude and you're a predator and all these kinds of things. Now, two things. One, the context, it's New York, and it's a nightclub in New York. Like, it's ruder. That is the truth. And I listened to it having lived in Santa Monica, and I was like, oh, yeah. That was the way.
Sense of humor. I learned this the hard way.
Yeah.
You can be really sarcastic in New York. You don't want to take that to California or Brazil. Sure.
But the other thing is a presumption that this woman was upset. Now, here's the thing. The end of the story, which is there, and I don't know if she clicked off the podcast or heard it, but is that she kisses me. That at the end of the night, we're talking and we come to it, we start to like one another, and she kisses me. So this presumption, this victim feeling on her behalf is, I think by the end of the story, shown not to be the case. And if you don't believe the story, then don't believe the first part of the story.
Right, yeah.
Like, if you think that the story's not real, it's either fake or it's not. But so there's a number of other things in there. All of them have slightly funny stories. Some of them I could debunk by telling you personal details about the people in there, which I don't want to do.
Leave that. Okay.
Anyway,
I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So so what is my thought? So we go through all of this, and I look, and it was very upsetting at first. And then I read this book on how people come to decisions. And the only thing that I can, as I go through this, and I actually listened because I was like, am I horrible? And I need to check on this, because that was like, I need to see it. And I listened. And what I concluded in a lot of these is that this person decided that they hated me and then found evidence, which I think to them makes sense, and ignored everything that might have contradicted that, even if it came a second later in the clip.
Sure, if it's not intuitive, like why would a Turkish Instagram model have a photo available to you that's not available to the world, or whatever it might be. Yeah. It's just, once someone has decided something, there's no counter evidence that will persuade them when they are heated.
Yeah.
I hope that she sees this and maybe considers it, and maybe we talk or whatever it is.
Yeah, but, I'm doubtful, but that's okay.
No, but I would love that. Honestly would love to talk to this person. It would appear that this person decided they didn't like you and then decided to make a video.
Well, not decided.
That would make other people
something
not like
happened that they didn't like me.
Yes.
Something happened, and then.
But it's not the content of the video.
I agree.
Weirdly enough, that she hated you before she saw an Instagram post about not waiting to live the life of your dreams, and she hated you before Google image searching one of our testimonials. That was not the moment when she decided that she didn't like you. It was when that didn't come up. And so it's interesting. To me, it was stressful because I went, wow, you can clip, and I've been guilty of this. We've talked about this when Rudy Giuliani talks about 9/11 when he's supporting Trump, and he mentions something.
There's been no terrorist
attacks, blah blah blah, and it's cut in a way.
He says there's been no terrorist attacks in New York, and then that gets shipped out by liberal or Democrats.
And I saw it and I fell for it.
Holy cow!
And then what you realize when you watch the full thing, because my friend was like, "Hey, I think you might want to delete this post after you watch the full video." 30 seconds before, he says,
with the exception
of 9/11.
Yeah.
And I got. And so when this happened to you, I was thinking, oh, wow, you're totally screwed, because you can be convinced of anything. You can chop up different sentences.
And we're going to go do this podcast.
Yeah, you can take
where
anything,
it's just going to have tons of sentences.
You can deep fake me. You know, I mentioned at one point we talked about abortion. At one point I said the word evil. And I don't think abortion is evil, but you can get me to say it if you just put enough words together. And so I was really freaked out. You know, we talked about, I was kind of in favor of canceling this for a little bit, to just not be available to people to do misconstrue that. And it was about.
Yeah, it was scary, and it could be, but honestly, I talked to my friend Benji, who gave me the best advice on it, and he was on Survivor Australia, and he said, look, man, I came back and people hated me. I was the bad guy. I'd been my 15 minutes of fame was of people being like, I'm going to kill that guy. I hate him. How dare he? And a couple things. One, I paid attention to my real life, and nobody who hated me with all this vitriol in the world on the internet said a word to me in person. It was friendly people who came up and spoke to me. So he's like, so pay attention to your real life. Like, do your friends think that this is true? Have any of the women alleged in this video had any problem with you? Go to that and rely on that. And then the second thing is, what metric are you going to use? Mm-hmm. If you take the metric of hate videos, I mean, if Martin Luther King Jr., and I'm not saying not even close, if he were alive today, he'd have so much vitriol about him on YouTube, because what he was doing at the time was pissing people off. That's not to say, I feel I got to make this abundantly clear, I'm not a civil rights leader. I'm not doing anything on that scale. But if you're going to make an impact, positive, neutral, whatever, people will react, and some of them will hate you. And if you make your metric not getting hate videos, you will do nothing. So keep doing the podcast and try to do good and do the things in your life, like sit down with your morality and focus on your character instead of your reputation. And I really genuinely would love to talk to her, because when I look at our YouTube channel, it's just helping people to be more confident and to have better social skills. Sure.
It's not particularly political. It's not about
some people, I think it is. And this is so I was trying to theorize why someone would do this. I don't think it's someone I know. I thought there's one person we've kicked out of our course. I was like, could be them, disgruntled.
Yeah. There was a woman. We have a community when you join Prism University.
Kick someone out of the course.
Sure. She was being
disruptive to
the community.
And the other thing is, I was looking, because I don't ever do this if you have any modicum of internet fame. I was like, why do people hate Charisma on Command? So I started looking up negative things about us off our channel. And there's subsets of Reddit that are convinced that they know my political affiliations, and that our channel is and by subsets, I mean a couple dozen people. Sure. That are political that we are a gateway channel to radical, alt-right views, and because we normalize Jordan Peterson. And that's my other hypothesis. I really do not think it's...
You think it's because you covered Jordan Peterson and Trump?
It could
and
be. What I feel confident in is that it's not the material that was in that video, because I think that if you came to that with a neutral mind, you wouldn't cut it the way that it was cut. So I think the decision
is
I think the emotive thing where I was disliked happened first, and then confirmation bias took it from there. So that's my suspicion, though.
If you're watching this, Michelle, reach out. There's an email on our Charisma on Command YouTube channel.
Our first podcast guest.
I would love to talk to you, truly, just to try to understand. You know, I feel like we're trying to do good in the world. It was really disheartening to watch the video, you know.
But here's what I want to say to you is I would like that. I think it would be a really powerful thing if we came to some sort of eye-to-eye, human-to-human thing. That'd be great. But you and I cannot create this kind of a space for any sort of negative thing that is said about our business in the future. This has to be a one-time sort of a thing, because it's again, it's just slowing us down, and there's more that we could be doing.
Oh yeah, I spent a lot of mental energy on this. I mean, yeah, it's not even really about me, but it kept me up at night.
Yeah.
I was trying to figure out, what does it mean? What can we do? You know, like,
do not, and I will repeat, do not go comment anything negative on the video. Do not do that. You're not helping me. You're like, if you've been listening to this podcast,
we're not trying to create a bullying environment. We're not trying to,
this has got to be, it's got to be understanding. Otherwise, what we are feeling that we have been victimized in is exactly what you're doing. If you can't be understanding and assume that you don't have the whole story, then you're missing the point that we're driving at in this podcast. So do not do that.
And I don't even know if this will air, but we're just talking about it because
it's gonna air, bro.
A couple people have asked
it's happening
in the comments.
So anything. Yeah. So how about those Oklahoma City Raiders? No. Anything else that you want to touch on before we wrap?
No. Anything else you want to say about that?
No, it made me sad. What do I feel? I've repeated myself, but you asked, what do I think? Hopefully we've talked about what happened. I'll just reiterate my emotions. I was sad.
Well, one thing is, you just can't control what other people are going to put on the internet.
I was sad, and it exposed an area that I'm not happy to have to grow in, but I'm excited to grow in, which is, and I've run this mental exercise. Just pretend everyone hates you. Everyone other than the people that you directly interact with and help. Like, imagine that world. Every stranger hates you. And find a way to be happy in that world. And of course, I wouldn't prefer that didn't happen, but I feel like the liberation that could happen in terms of the quality of things that we could do for people if we got to that stage would be incredible. And this is, here I go being alt-right, but I think part of the reason that Jordan Peterson is so famous is because he said what he thought to be true at personal expense. And agree or disagree, I admire that. I admire that he said that he went and took personal risk to say what he thought was true and risk losing his job and all that.
Super hard, man. When I was making videos for the channel, I read all the comments. You evenally pulled me aside. You're like, dude, you can't do this. And I took everyone to heart. You're worse than Charlie. You're ugly. Just all the terrible, you got a lopsided smile. It's just, and I just buried them all in my brain.
Sure.
It's hard not to.
Well, and now we're dwelling, but we're here. I think that's really what confidence comes down to. Some people seem to just get it. Maybe they do, maybe they don't. The Conor McGregors who go out there and at least early in his career, there's no brokering. But if that's not you, guess what? You get to start like me. You get to try to build it from the ground up. And the ground up means feeling uncomfortable and staying up at night and worrying what people think about you and taking a deep breath a lot of times and
taking a lot of melatonin.
You know what it is? No melatonin. You know what it is? And I've been reading a lot of meditation. It's like, this is real. Like, I see you. You are real. All of those things and the people, that's all imaginary. And quite frankly, no one has come up to me with anything but positivity. And while I'm grateful for that, I can't promise that to myself in the future.
Yeah.
But try to keep it locked in on things that are within your tight sphere of influence and your reputation, especially if you're on YouTube. That's out of my hands.
So
that's
only
out of the
take
box.
it personally when our friends tell me that I'm not as handsome as you.
Yes.
Got it.
Let's end on that note.